Good morning, Wind Chasers. Welcome to another episode of Chasing the Wind. Let's see what God's up to today. Hey, I want to talk to you a little bit today about curses into blessings. I was sitting the other day doing some praying. Actually, I was walking doing some praying, and God just always jumps in on me and interrupts me when I'm praying, which is really annoying, by the way. Joking. Love it when God speaks to me when I'm praying. So anyway, I'm sitting there, and God kind of starts talking to me about something. I even wrote a few notes today because I just want to make sure I get talking about them. Here was what was interesting is I felt the Lord talking to me about praying for a certain situation, i.e. our country and our government right now. And it's obvious to me that the enemy is just throwing all sorts of confusion at us, and he is the author of confusion. And so, we got to be ready for that. But the Lord gave me this vision. It was very interesting to me and I don't remember that reference. Old Testament stuff always slips me. But it was one of those battles that Israel was about to have. My producer's probably going to tell me what chapter it is when I'm done here in a minute. But anyway, it was one of those battles that the Israelites were about to have. And they were outnumbered, as almost they often were. And the image the Lord gave me is that one story where the opposing army of Israel, the army opposing Israel, I should say, was thrown into confusion. They started actually killing each other. And I don't remember which. They were probably the termites that did that. Anyway, there are no termites, by the way, in the Old Testament. But there was some ites. Some of those ites one of the ites got threw them into confusion. They started killing each other, and Israel did okay. And that was the image God gave me. And he told me, he goes, pray that way against evil. Because evil is a curse. And so whatever the evil is, whether it's where if you see stuff at work, if you see whatever, wherever you see evil, pray that God would turn that curse of evil into a blessing. Now I'm like, well, where does it say that in Scripture? So I Googled it, of course, or actually went to my YouVersion and found it. And where it's at is it was Balaam and his donkey. And that wonderful story found in Numbers 22. It's referenced in Deuteronomy, I believe. It is referenced in one of Peter's letters, I think 2 Peter, 1 Peter, one of those two. It is referenced in Revelation chapter 2. And you can go to Numbers 22 to 24 to learn about Balaam. He was hired to bring a curse on God's people. And I love what it says. It says that God, and I think it's in Deuteronomy, it says that God he turned that curse into a blessing because he loved them. Oh, what a wonderful, wonderful statement. God turned the curse into a blessing because he loved them. And so, you can read all of Balaam's oracles. He was a hired guy to bring this curse, but he says, I can only say what I'm told to say. He didn't even believe in God, didn't even care about God. He wanted the money. Okay, we never see pastors do that these days, but that's for another thing. So anyway, here's the deal. Actually, it was the Ammonites and the Moabites. I got a note here, just so but that was not who was thrown into confusion, but that's who hired him. The king, Balak was his name. He goes, hey, I want you to curse them. And even Balaam said, man, their God is so powerful, I can't do it, man. He's not letting me do it, and I can't do it. And then, God sends an angel, and that was a beautiful thing. And his donkey, he's riding his donkey, and his donkey said, I ain't going by that angel. He probably sounded like, who was that? What was that? That guy, that donkey from Shrek, whatever his name was. I don't remember now. What was his name, Andy? Do you know? You don't know either. Okay, Andy doesn't remember. So anyway, he's a donkey from Shrek. He probably talked like him or something. I don't know. But anyway, and so Balaam starts wailing on his donkey and beating him like a rented mule or something. And the donkey speaks. He says, dude, there's an angel there, and I ain't going by him. That's the Hanson loose translation, by the way. Very, very loose translation. So anyway, here's what I'm trying to talk to you about, is that sometimes the very things that come into our lives that we perceive them to be curses, or we perceive them to be evil, that God will take them and he'll use them to his purposes. He'll redeem them of sorts. It's not to say that evil is good. I'm not saying that. But God says, all right, throw me the best you have, because I'll throw you the best I have. So here's the deal. I love that, and I remember hearing it in a song one time. I think it's a song called "The Blood Bought Church." Nancy Harmon. So I think every curse that is brought upon you will be turned into a blessing. So I've been pondering that and sitting with that, and God's just given me this hope that says, all the evil, all the things we see going on, legislation that's being done that's just, you can just tell it's not of the Lord, that it is going against what God wants. That even, let's just take that out of it, because we got to leave that in the Lord's hands. What about the evil that comes into my own life? What about the things that people have done to me? And we have all had people do things to us. Things have happened to us. Organizations have done to us. Jobs, maybe we've been wronged at work, whatever the deal is. Maybe we have been wronged by a loved one. Maybe you said, man, my spouse cheated on me. Maybe my kids are going crazy. Whatever the deal is, a business partner did something wrong, cost you a boatload of money. Maybe the church has hurt you. I get that. Sometimes those things happen, and it's not right, but they happen, and you know what? They happen, and that's what goes on. And so here's the deal. We can't stop that. As I've often told people when I've counseled with them, they're like, Pastor, how come God didn't stop them from doing something? Well, because human freedom stinks. That's why. We all want human freedom. I want it because I can be trusted. I'm okay. I'm not going to hurt anybody, right? Yeah, except for some of you are going to say, man, I remember when you hurt me, Pastor. But I don't want God to let you have human freedom because you could hurt me. And so you're thinking the same thing I am. Boy, Lord, don't give Mark human freedom because he's going to hurt me. So human freedom stinks. We want it, and it's part of what goes along with it. We make bad choices sometimes. And we don't always mean them for evil. Some people do. But not everybody means them for evil. But here's the deal. I love it when there's that other Old Testament passage or story when Joseph is confronting his brothers who sold him into slavery. And actually it worked out to be this beautiful thing because he actually saved a bunch of people when there was a famine. And he confronts his brothers. He goes, you meant it for evil, but God meant it for good. Oh boy, and then we go to Romans 8:28. All things work for the good of those that love the Lord and are called according to his purpose. Doesn't say all things are good. It says all things work for the good. God is not hindered by other people's bad choices and decisions. Sometimes they're the very thing that causes us to make a decision we should have made on our own, but we didn't. Maybe you got fired from that job or let go from that job because you should have made that decision yourself, but God had to kind of move it along and help you out here a little bit. So here's the deal, folks, is when you are confronted and you realize there's been some bad things happen in your life. I have some people right now in my life that are going through divorces. That's a hard thing. That is a hard thing. Here's the thing I want you to remember no matter what, is that when that evil comes, surrender it to the Lord and invite him to meet you in it. Because here's the deal. God will turn those bad things that happen to us sometimes, he'll use them to his glory if we'll let him, if we'll invite him into it. So curses into blessings today, people. People mean evil sometimes to us. We see it all over the place, and it seems like evil is running rampant. Some people say, we're in the last days. Well, maybe we are, maybe we aren't. I don't know. I'm in my last days. I'm almost 55. Who knows how much longer I have? One foot in the grave and the other on a banana peel, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to live till I die. That's what I'm going to do. But in the meantime, you know what? We live in a fallen world, and people hurt each other. And you know what? If we will trust God, he will bless us. And he will even take those things and he'll say, yeah, I know what you hit me with your best shot. Okay, that takes me back to the 80s. Now I really dated myself. Anyway, and God says, do your worst and I'll do mine. I'll show you who has the power. And that was the other thing God showed me. I'm going to go real quick here. Is that in Job, it was in a devotion I read this week. Job, he got focused on the problem. God, don't you realize what's going on? How come you're not stepping in? God says, were you here when I created the world? Were you here? Were you not? I love what the devotion writer is, Pete Greig, I think is how you say his last name. He said, God says, don't focus on the problem. Focus on the power. Focus on me. Focus on God. Because I have so much, I am so above all these things going on. So folks, I'm going to stop right there. God is not worried about the evil that is coming on in this world. He is above that. We got to get rid of this dualism that, oh, Satan's another God. Just no, he is not. He is answerable to God. He said to Peter, Peter, Satan has asked to sift you. Turn your eyes on the Lord today, because he has got this. He has got this. So until next time, wind chasers, keep chasing the wind, because the wind is chasing you. Grace and peace.